Hello and welcome to World News on TVP World. I'm Marie Katia. During a speech at the European Forum on New Ideas in Warsaw on Tuesday, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said that the era of naive globalization is coming to an end. He stressed the need to rebuild the national economy and reshore Poland's businesses. Our reporter Ovidiusz Nicieja is on the ground.
The Polish Prime Minister wants to re-Polonize the Polish economy. Head of the Polish government, Donald Tusk, has said that Poland should, quote, selfishly take care of the interests of its own entrepreneurs. Donald Tusk has also appealed to the Polish people, Polish businesses, but also Polish state-owned companies to favor Polish ideas and Polish companies over the foreign competition.
Today, Poland, Europe, and the entire world find themselves in a situation where we must state loudly and clearly that we will endure, we will prevail, and we will achieve success for our nation, for our enterprises, for our families, and for our citizens. Those of us who draw the correct conclusion from the events unfolding around us will prosper. And now, I believe the time has come to say, firmly and unambiguously, that the era of naive globalization is coming to an end.
And these remarks came at the European Forum of New Ideas, which is attended by Polish employers and businesses. And these words were met with a certain enthusiasm on site. The European Forum of New Ideas is an annual conference which focuses on global trends, new ideas, and the future of Europe. And this edition is focused on the future of employment in the face of challenges such as rapidly developing new technologies, but also changing demographics in Poland, as well as this new era of global competition. And the Polish government is present here. It wanted to send a signal that it acknowledges all of these issues, and it wanted to show that it has a solution. So the Polish Prime Minister believes that getting rid of over-regulation, as well as this Poland-first approach, this economically nationalistic approach, is the right way forward. From Warsaw for TVP World, Ovidiusz Nicieja.
Brussels is considering legal measures that would allow European companies to break long-term gas contracts with Russia without incurring heavy penalties. The European Commission is looking into using force majeure clauses, which could help companies exit agreements without paying compensation to Moscow.
This move is part of the EU's broader effort to reduce its dependence on Russian energy and cut off financial support for the Kremlin amid the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Despite a significant reduction in Russian pipeline gas supplies to the EU, Russian liquefied natural gas exports have increased. The EU is working on a plan to eliminate Russian fossil fuels by 2027, though challenges remain, particularly with Hungary and Slovakia, which still rely heavily on Russian energy. Additionally, the EU is exploring tariffs on Russian gas as an alternative to a full import ban, which would require the approval of a majority of member states.
On Sunday morning, the city of Sumy came under attack with 2 Russian ballistic missiles striking its center, killing 35 people, including children, and wounding over 100 others. Our correspondent Oz Karuji is on the ground and has the latest.
The Ukrainian government has approved the dismissal of the governor of the Sumy region following Sunday's deadly Russian ballistic missile attack here in Sumy, which killed 35 people and injured 119. Now, the workers here are still working under difficult conditions. We've had air raid alerts. There are still attacks happening across Ukraine while they try and clean up following the attack on Sunday. Now, there's also a difficult political situation as the local authorities have confirmed that a military awards ceremony was planned in Sumy shortly before the attack happened. Now, the governor, the dismissed governor, has denied responsibility for that, but clearly it's something the government in Kyiv thought was important to take action on. It's Oz Katerji reporting from Sumy for TVP World.
In an interview with Fox News, Donald Trump's envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, commented on his recent trip to Moscow. According to Witkoff, during his meeting with Vladimir Putin, the Russian leader presented his conditions for a ceasefire deal. Witkoff also added that a deal with the Russian Federation seems to be on the horizon.
Witkov did not say what Putin demanded in exchange for a ceasefire in Ukraine, but admitted that the agreement revolves largely around the 5 regions of Ukraine occupied by Russia. Moreover, during the interview, Witkov went on to say that NATO and Article 5 of the treaty are a concern for authorities in Moscow. On Friday, Witkov was hosted by Vladimir Putin at the Kremlin, where the two officials spoke for more than 4.5 hours. Following the meeting, Witkov expressed his belief that relations between the United States and Russia are salvageable. According to Witkov, trade and investment opportunities between the two superpowers would make for a stabilizer in the Eastern European region.
Speaking from the White House, Donald Trump dismissed Ukraine's request to purchase Patriot missile batteries. Talking to journalists in Washington, Trump has once again seemed to place the blame for the war on President Zelensky instead of Vladimir Putin. Russia launched its full-scale aggression against Ukraine in February 2022 after the earlier illegal annexation of Crimea and parts of the Donbass back in 2014.
Have you spoken to President Zelensky, sir, about his offer to purchase more Patriot missile batteries?
Oh, I don't know. He's always looking to purchase missiles, you know. He's against... Listen, when you start a war, you got to know that you can win the war, right? You don't start a war against somebody that's 20 times your size and then hope that people give you some missiles. The mistake was letting the war happen. If Biden were competent and if Zelensky were competent, and I don't know that he is. We had a rough session with this guy over here. He just kept asking for more and more. That war should have never been allowed to happen.
Asked about further sanctions against Russia following the recent attacks against Ukraine, Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski said recent strikes indicate that Russia has no remorse over killing Ukrainian civilians. He also added that Viktor Orban's upcoming visit to Moscow indicates the Hungarian Prime Minister's, quote, lack of moral clarity.
Definitely, yes. Multiple ministers pointed this out in their statements. But we have one country, Hungary, which doesn't have this moral clarity we have about Putin's attacks. He's talking about peace while bombing civilians and killing children. The victim agrees to a ceasefire, and he either escalates its conditions or escalates attacks. This gives us moral clarity, but apparently not every country is guided by the same values.
European leaders have been warned not to attend Russia's Victory Day parade next month. Caution from the EU's top diplomat Kaja Kallas was signalled after various presidents and prime ministers expressed their desire to attend the controversial May 9th military parade. Our EU correspondent Angela Skujins has more on the who's who of Moscow's invite list.
Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico, as well as the Serbian President Alexander Vučić, have both confirmed that they will attend a controversial military parade scheduled to take place in Moscow next month. However, questions loom over the presence of the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, as well as the President of Turkey. We're expecting more updates as that invite list takes shape. So what makes this military parade so controversial? Now, the date is rooted in symbolism. On this day in 1945, Nazi Germany officially capitulated to the Russian Red Army. However, in the decades since, many critics have described the event as a propagandist opportunity for Russia to puff up its military might. This is exactly why the EU High Representative Kaja Kallas has warned EU aspirant countries such as Serbia from attending. Instead, she suggested that countries should gather in Kyiv on that day, May the 9th, to celebrate Europe Day. Many are seeing this as well as an opportunity for these allies to express their solidarity with Ukraine as it battles another year of Russian aggression. Angela Skujins from the Belgian capital for TVP World.
Anti-government protests in Serbia continue, this time on bicycles. Young protesters are on their way from Serbia to Strasbourg to make their voice of protest heard in the European Union. They are now in Germany and are starting the last leg of their journey. Our correspondent Paweł Trzaskowski is on site with more details.
I'm standing in front of the Serbian Orthodox Church in Karlsruhe, Germany, and this is where the last stage of the tour to Strasbourg is about to commence. For about 2 weeks, 80 cyclists from Serbia have been cycling from their country to the European Parliament in Strasbourg, and today they are hoping to reach their destination.
No, we are not tired. How could we be tired knowing that we are arriving today at the final destination?
Excited and happy.
We are traveling 2 weeks now,
and it's a very long trip, and I can't wait to arrive.
This bike ride is a continuation of mass protests in Serbia that have been staged for almost 6 months now. They started in November last year when a concrete canopy of a railway station in Novi Sad, Serbia's second largest city, collapsed, tragically killing 16 people. And this incident was a catalyst of social dissatisfaction, with people taking to the streets opposing what they believe is a state capture and corruption of the country's government and the country's president Alexander Vučić. And initially these protests have been largely ignored, but with time and persistence they started to make an impression on Serbian politics. In January this year, the country's Prime Minister resigned, and actually today a new government is being confirmed, and new government of the new Prime Minister Đuro Matsut, who is not a professional politician but a university professor and a doctor. And this nomination, this new candidacy, is seen by many as a move trying to appease the protests. From Karlsruhe, Germany, for TVP World, I'm Paweł Trzaskowski.
And now let's wrap it up on a lighter note with the delightful world of cuisine. Traditional Polish food is a harmonious blend of comfort and unforgettable flavors. Here, every meal can be a joyous celebration.
It's the latest arrival to the world's elite cheese platter. Meet the oscypek, a traditional cheese made for generations by Polish Highlanders, with love and a pinch of salt. Hailing from Podhale, the southernmost region of Poland, oscypek recipes have been passed on from generation to generation.
It's a tradition passed down from generation to generation. Just as our grandparents handed it down to us, we pass on this tradition too. What our fathers taught us, we teach our children, and it's honestly very hard. It's tough to make a living.
Preparing an oscypek is no piece of cake.
Oscypek is made like this. People work in their shepherd huts, herding sheep at night, and then in the morning they milk them. After that, they sit down to make the oscypek. You have to press it, salt it, then dry it, smoke it, and finally go somewhere to sell it.
At Polish ethnic food markets, like this one on the outskirts of Warsaw, Highlanders sell their cheeses to eager buyers from the big city. You will often find beekeepers offering a range of honeys from their apiaries, as well as traditional Polish mead. And there are plenty of herbs to choose from. But for many Poles, homemade meat products are still a rare treat. One vendor, Kazimierz, offers a wealth of regional delicacies at his stall.
I'm from the Kurpia region, and I brought with me some lovely little treats, as you can see here on the display. It's all local, homemade stuff. Everything's naturally smoked and, well, quite delicious, I must say. Granny Anya's herb lard is my favorite. There's also bacon, blood sausage, and head cheese.
But how is Granny Anya's lard superior to stuff you find on supermarket shelves?
It's mainly about the taste, you see. You pop this in your fridge and it'll keep for a few weeks easy. Not like that stuff from the supermarkets, is it? Slips right out of your hand after a few days. What more can I say, really? Come on then, have a taste.
Truth be told, it's not just about the quality and taste. The price of regional foods also includes the priceless feeling of interacting with real food producers and real people, while preserving recipes passed down from generation to generation.
And on that note, we wrap up World News at 2 p.m. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for more on TVP World. Goodbye.